All right,
There we
we
go.
did it. We are live on Facebook. We're recording. This is our Las Vegas Triathlon Club member spotlight. We've got a new member, Judd Underwood. Hey, Judd, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And this is going to be a lot of fun because we were just talking right before this is your 1 year anniversary of triathlon. And so this is going to be a lot of fun getting to hear more about that 1 year and all the things that have happened in that year. So before we get going too far, I'm going to turn it over to Bob Gamble for the official introduction and first question.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate that. And Judd, thanks for being on here tonight. And as John said, this is your 1 year anniversary. For everybody listening, we've got a relatively new triathlete, and Judd has a really interesting story about how he got into this and his first triathlon. So I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm gonna let it come from Judd's mouth. He told it so much better than I can. So welcome, Judd. Thanks for joining us again. And it's been a pleasure meeting you and talking with you. And congratulations on your incredible start. Um, so thanks. Tell us how you got into triathlon, how and why, and tell us about your first one.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. So, be warned, I can talk about triathlon now that I'm into it. I'm like that kid in the candy store. I'm brand new to this. Everything's new. Uh, I can talk about it forever, and I've been talking everybody's ear off that asked me about it. But yeah, so boy, quick history of me. I never used to run or ride bikes. I ended up having surgery 10, 12 years ago. And my cousin, who used to race, he was an old Cat 2 racer. He gave me a road bike just to start kind of recovering after surgery. And I went around the block, then I went 5 miles, then I went 10 miles. And then all of a sudden I was, putting in some real mileage. So I have a little bit of history of learning how to suffer because that is exactly what this sport is all about. But um, a year ago, well, now let me go back even further. So October of 2022, my cousin challenged the Underwood boys. We're all boys in my family, no girls. Um, and he challenged all the Underwood boys to do a triathlon with him on his 56th birthday. And without even hesitating, I was like, I'm in. I was like, done this before, but it's going to be great. Um, and so he's like, okay, you go to the Ironman website, sign up for the Oregon 70.3 in July of 2023. And so I did it right away. My brother and I did it. The other cousins, they backed out for whatever reason, but we signed up. And starting in November of that year, I was like, you know what? Well, if I'm going to get ready for this, 2022 November, I better try to run. And
Let alone swim.
well, I hadn't even gotten there yet. That's coming. And so I ran the first 5K, and I did it. Oh my gosh, it was hard and slow, and I was like, this is going to be tough. But you kind of you go through the process, and I started running and just trying to get comfortable. And come April of 2023, I realized I had to start swimming.
Hmm.
And I got
Yeah,
in
we're
the
talking 3 months there now.
right. So I knew it was like a deadline because my brother and I were joking that, you know, the swim, I mean, I don't want to drown. I don't want to have to get pulled out of the water and not even be able to do this event. So I got in the pool at Lifetime and swam 50 yards, and I couldn't even make it to the other end of the pool. And I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna drown. It was it was eye opening. I was like, I can't believe I don't know how to swim. Um, so a lot of YouTube instruction videos later, and I was finally able to put in some decent swimming. It's still slow. I proved that at St. George this year, but I could do it. I was like, you know what? I can make it the distance. And so yeah, Oregon 70.3 came, and it's a river swim. And whoever has not done a river swim, It took me 24 minutes to swim the 1.2 miles. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe how fast I was going. My brother, he actually floated on his back the whole time. And I think he did it in like 25, 26 minutes.
Oh, that's great.
I was relieved to get through the swim. And then, the bike was amazing. And the run, I'll tell you what, I never realized, even through training, I didn't do a whole lot of block training, training for this, because I didn't really ask anybody how to train for a triathlon. I was just biking, running, and swimming as much as I could. And I realized that, the transition from bike to run was no joke. I mean, cramping immediately. Recovered though, and was able to finish it, and just had a great time. And I remember telling my cousin after the race, and I've done some grand fondos, a few hundred people here, a few hundred people there. I've done some other, little fun runs, but there were 2,000 people at that truck. And I remember telling him before and after, I was like, you know what? I wish I had found this earlier, because the energy out there was, it was unbelievable. And that's what really pulled me in. The suffering is one thing, and, the enjoyment of finishing is the other, but it was the energy that was out there. I mean, it was so cool. And, so yeah, that is my 1-year anniversary, from Oregon, and it's this weekend, I believe.
Right. One thing you're right. It is this weekend. One thing, in case people missed it, as you mentioned this, because it kind of flew by really quick. Your first triathlon was Oregon, and then you did St. George.
Yes. Well, I got a few of the club tries in, because that first club try of the year. Yeah. So I joined the club in March when they had the
this year.
And I remember getting in the water for that first club try, and I ended up, I think I probably doggy paddled and breaststroked the entire thing. I just remember the lifeguard on the board. He was sitting there yelling at me. He's like, "Put your head in the water. He goes, swim like you practiced."
I can picture him saying that. That's yeah.
It was horrible. I was like, I don't know if I could do this. And I got out of the water, and I realized right away, I was like, I better do some group swims and open water swims. And so yeah, was able to get a few of those club try swims in, and then I did the Ironman St. George. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I am hooked. It is quite the experience and the feeling when you finish. I mean, it's both emotional, and it just you get fired up about it.
Well, I love it. When you did the Tri Club event, you were so engaged and really just joyous about being there and competing, and that was so great to see, and I love that. So going back to your Oregon 70.3, tell us how you got through the run. You talked about going from the bike to the run was really no joke. So, this is your first triathlon, let alone your first 70.3. I mean, what was going through your mind? Were you even doubting that you were even be able to finish the run, or what were you thinking?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great question. When I got off and I was cramping so bad, I took some nutrition and just started out really slow. The course is very forgiving in Oregon. It's pretty flat. There is some kind of up and down, but I just kind of settled in. I made sure I got some nutrition in, and the first loop, I felt pretty good. When my cousin passed me at mile 7, he was surprised I was doing so well. He's like, Dad, I expected to pass you 4 miles ago, because I passed him on the bike.
Yeah.
And then
your bike time was awesome.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, I passed it back in the run. He passed me back in the run. But after seeing him leave me, I don't really know if I ever felt like I was going to have to quit, but I definitely felt like I wanted to walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling a few of the members, I'm so inexperienced with the run portion of these triathlons. It's like, and it even happened in St. George. I don't know if slowing down or stopping and walking and stretching, or you sit there and go through all of these what should I do? You're starting to cramp. Should I stop and walk? Should I stretch? Should I just slow down? Will it go away? Will it get worse? and so you're going through all these things in your mind, and you're just, okay, I'm just going to keep going. I'll slow down. Should I stop? That has happened in both triathlons that I've done, and I don't really know the answer about how to do it. And I love watching the podcasts, John, that you and Ted do, because one of those podcasts, we were talking about time and expectations that we put on ourselves. And as a new athlete to this sport, you continually want to say, you know what, I'm going to run this certain time. And I'm bad at that. I don't know if it's me being competitive or new to the sport, where I think that, I just got to, get faster and stronger if I have a bad time. And then you have a bad time and you don't know how to come back from that. You're like, what did I do wrong? So yeah, going back to that first triathlon, it was just kind of survival. I remember cramping pretty badly, and I just kept telling myself, with 3 or 4 miles to go, and this was the same thing that happened in St. George, I was like, you know what? At this certain pace, I'll be done in 21 minutes or 24 minutes, wherever I was in the race. And I was like, can I suffer for 24 more minutes?
I love it.
If I do, how will I feel after I cross the finish line? What I feel if I stop now?
Yeah.
I just kept telling myself, you got 20 minutes. You got 14 more minutes to run, and it's over.
Oh, I love that.
That was basically what I was telling myself the whole time.
That's great.
Yeah,
well,
but
those tricks of of being able to do that's important. So I'm curious, were you already signed up for St. George 70.3 when you did Oregon, or did you sign up for that after you completed Oregon?
I signed up right away.
Oh, wow!
Registration opened up for Utah. I was signed up.
You were ready to go. And okay, so now, how did St. George? What did you do different to get ready for St. George versus what you did for Oregon?
I ran a lot more.
Oh, okay.
And
did you do anything off of the bike? Biking and then running?
So I tried block training, swim and then ride and then ride and then ride and then run. I really concentrated on my run because I figured the bike would be relatively strong just because of my background.
Why is your bike so strong? Tell me. That's another thing I noticed.
It's more fun.
You do it more.
I do it more, and it's just so much. It is so fun to be. I'd never ridden a tri bike before, or even a time trial bike until I purchased one. My cousin thought I was crazy because I bought an old Quintana Roo bike for that Oregon triathlon, and he's like, "You bought a bike? I'm all for your first triathlon." I was like, "Hey, why not? Why not go all in?" And it was so much fun. I think my bike is strong just because I have way more fun doing it. And the run is the swim is survival, the bike is fun, and the run is just suffering. And
one thing I'd like to ask you, Judd, excuse me, is when you first get into triathlon, you learn what you don't know and you learn what you have to work on. And you had like an incredible first year of learning. So what was it? What was the biggest learning that you took away from your first? You did two interesting triathlons for your first triathlon. So besides the one club race, or So what did you learn and, what'd you pick up in that first year?
Oh,
Or
like
what surprised you?
what surprised me was first off how fast everybody is. It is amazing how many fast athletes there are in these competitions and in our club. I mean, the guys and the girls in this club, they are flying, and that motivates me. Because I'm a competitor, but I like to have fun. And when I'm seeing people pass me, I'm like, what? Like,
What are they doing?
how am I going to get faster? So yeah, the competition and the camaraderie in the club has just been amazing, and that's really helped push me forward. And getting to these Ironman races, you know, what I told John and you earlier about setting goals and times. I'm so time oriented about, I really want to be able to do this. I should be able to finish in this time. And then when I don't do it, you're like, so I guess setting those expectations on yourself when I should be out there just having fun and a good time
Oh,
and
look, yeah, he's all in on this.
yeah, it should just I should enjoy it before I get too competitive about it because that competitiveness it can just kill everything. And so
Can I can later on offer you some of the pitfalls of whenever you set your goals and you say, I'm going to hit this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to swim this much. We'll talk about that later. So I'm glad that you figured that out real quick.
well, I haven't figured it out yet because I couldn't believe how slow I swam, and after I was running so much to prepare for St. George,
Mhm.
and my run was actually slower than in Oregon, but I cramped a lot.
Oregon was a flat course, and St. George is hilly as heck.
Well, and that's where I need to understand the difference. But after that race, I was like, oh, what happened? I
Yeah.
remember halfway through the run on the first lap, I looked down at my watch and I was like, oh man, I'm going to go faster. I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
I came around that turn and I saw my wife and she cheered me on. And I was like, yeah, I was fired up. And then all of a sudden, I just stopped.
You start going back up that hill.
I cramped and it was just miserable after that. So going back to that, what have I learned? I need to learn pacing and patience, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. Those are all good things to learn, but you've got plenty of time and you're loving it. And I can hear the enjoyment of the challenge and the training and the races. Obviously, you're enjoying it, and that's the key. So, what do you have planned for the rest of this year, and even maybe thinking about next year?
Yeah, so definitely planning on I figured with the T100 coming in, definitely want to do that. It's always been I won't say a goal of mine, but ever since I've been living here in Vegas, I moved out here in 2006. I had a friend who actually did the Pumpkin Man triathlon,
Oh yeah.
and I've never done it, of course. And now that I'm into triathlons, I really want to do the Pumpkin Man, but it's only a week after that T100,
I know.
and I don't really know if I don't know what I want to do. I definitely want to do all the local triathlons. I
Yeah.
think that it's an opportunity to have a great time and take advantage of the local races here. Um, but with the T100 coming out here for the first time, I think that's right in our backyard. That's unbelievable. I think that's very exciting.
No, I love it. I love it. And what's great is, this fall in general, we always have races, and really the calendar gets pretty packed. So you've got lots of options on what to do, and yeah, a lot of good races out there. T100, Pumpkin Man. That's tough when they're a week apart, but that's great. I love it.
Next
It
year,
makes it hard to choose those races. There's so many of them in October, September, October, November here.
yeah, there's the Las Vegas Tri, then the T100, then
Yeah.
Pumpkin Man. Next
You
year,
gotta
I
Go
definitely
ahead.
want. I want some revenge next year in St. George.
Yeah.
Definitely will be doing St. George, and then my brother lives in Boise, Idaho.
Oh, good.
I saw everyone have a great experience up in Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah.
I think that looks like it would be a very cool race to do.
Yeah. Coeur d'Alene gets some high marks. So, yeah, that's great. Well, Judd, we said we'd keep you for 15 minutes, and we're over that. And because it's just so great to talk with you, I really love the enjoyment of triathlon right from the get go. And thank you for sharing these stories.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to my experience and getting to know everybody else in the club and just progressing. This is a great sport. I wish I'd found it 20 years ago, but I found it now. Better late than never, I guess.
That's right. Oh, I love it.
That's right. And thank you, Judd, for being on. And I really look forward to tracking your future. There's no doubt it's going to be stellar. And I look forward to riding and swimming with you.
Yeah.
Yes, do that for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks and good night, everyone.